All right, you guys, that time has come. That time has finally come. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what in the world am I talking about? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Bid runs. Bids are coming up. Now, we already bid it. So now it's just a matter of when we're going to find out, when they're going to post, what we got. Now, I pretty much have an idea of what I'm going to get. Hopefully it works in my favor. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I don't really like the way the company does it. And I'm sure they might say this. So let me go ahead and just state out the obvious. I'm not a spokesperson for AAA Cooper. I am just a driver stating my personal opinion. So the way they do it is we have, I believe, 24 or 25 runs out of the terminal that I run out of. Now, every LTL company does it different, but the way they have us do it is they post all the runs and you have to list all of them in the order in which you want it. So, yeah, that's how they do it. Now, the way I feel, and a lot of people agree with this logic, is they should have the number one guy with the most seniority go in the office, pick what he wants, cross it off, go to the number two guy, have him pick what he wants, cross it off, and so on and so forth. Not have us wonder, what we're gonna get. Now, we all pretty much have an idea of what run we're going to get. Now, the only factors is we have a few guys from City that are transferring over to Linehaul, so that could, screw up some things. But we should know by Tuesday. So if it works in my favor, I'll be sharing that news with y'all on Tuesday. Now, on to today's topic. I recently got a question regarding bid runs, and the question was, which one do you prefer, meet and turns or hub runs? Now, for the new people who just joining in, a hub run is basically when you just go from a terminal and you go back to your home terminal, or you might just bounce from terminal to terminal throughout the night. Meet and turn is when you meet somebody. You might meet at a terminal, you might meet at a truck stop, swap loads, and yeah, that's basically what that is. You're swapping loads. Now, for my OTR people, y'all might call that repower, but we're just doing swaps. So, as far as which is better, it's all a preference, and I recommend you just go for the one that has the most miles. So if there's a hub run that has more miles than meet and turn, then go for that. Now, keep in mind, when you do a hub run, you might go to just one terminal, or you might go to multiple terminals. So let's just say you're out of Jacksonville. You might go from Jacksonville to, let's just say, Orlando. And then from Orlando, they might send you to Fort Pierce. That'll be your run every night. Or let's just say you're out of Tampa. They might send you to Tampa, to Orlando, then back to Tampa, and then back to Orlando, back to Tampa. You'll do that every night. Keep in mind, with hub runs, most of the time, depending on the terminal you go to, your set or van will be ready. Now, when you go to bigger terminals, it might not be ready, because with bigger terminals, the way that works is there's constantly freight coming in and freight constantly coming out. Now, bigger terminals means teams. So you might have a team from out of state bringing your load in. So you might get there and it might not be ready. Now, sometimes when I go to Orlando, that happens. I might have a set of trailers coming from Charlotte or Dallas or Atlanta, and it may not be there. So sometimes I will have to wait. It is what it is. Now, with a meet and turn, it's the same thing. Now, if you do end up with a bid run that's a meet and turn, I recommend when you first get that run, get that driver's contact information. Now, let's just say, like out of Tampa, we do meets with drivers out of South Atlanta, West Atlanta, North Atlanta. So, let's just say you are assigned to meet the North Atlanta every night. I recommend that you get his or her contact information. That way you guys can text each other and find out, what time he's leaving. Because now, the way they do these meet and turns, they try to do it to where each driver's getting an equal number of miles. So for us, most of the time we'll meet in either Valdosta, or sometimes if they're running late, they'll have us go further up into Tifton. Now, the reason why we go up to like the state line, because it's going to balance out in the miles. You know, it's going to be about the same on each end. So let's just say you get to work at like 10 o'clock. It's a good idea to text your meat man and say, hey, have you left yet? If he says yay or nay, you know, that'll determine if you should leave or not, because it wouldn't make sense to leave before your meat guy, then have to sit at the truck stop for a few hours waiting. So that's why you need to coordinate a time in which you guys leave. That way you guys get there around the same time. Now, of course, in a perfect world, you'll meet your meat man exactly the same time every night. But of course, we don't live in a perfect world. So the cons of meet and turn, sometimes you might have to wait. Now, me, when I do meets, most of the time, I always beat my guy. You know, like this morning, for instance, I waited at the Flying J for about an hour and a half waiting on him to get there. Is what it is. It happens. That's why I say it's a good idea to coordinate. That way you're not sitting and waiting. Now, when it comes to these meet and turns, I highly recommend, I personally I do not disconnect from what I'm bringing until I inspect what he's bringing. Because sometimes your meat guy, he might bring you faulty equipment. He might bring you flat tires and not say anything. That's why it's a good idea to check it before you disconnect it. You know, I learned it the hard way. You know, I had a guy once, a few months back, he brought me not one flat tire, but he brought me 2 flat tires. So to save you from sitting on the shoulder, make sure you check your equipment before you swap the paperwork and disconnect. So that's just my take on it, y'all. That's just my quick snippet of it. Go for the one that has the most miles and do the one that works for you. If you don't want to have to worry about waiting, then try to go for a hub run. If you can't get a hub run, do a meet and turn. Then LTL, those are the 2 things you're either going to do. You're either going to have a hub run or you're going to do a meet and turn. All right, y'all, so that's the video today. So as I always tell y'all, thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Appreciate all of y'all. Make sure y'all hit that like and sub button. As I always tell y'all take it easy and y'all stay safe.